Hello and welcome back to another video. Today here again on Forza Horizon 5 to take a look at another brand new addition to the game, which is this, the first of the two brand new Rivians, this one being the R1T. Unlike most new cars, including the iX that we took a look at a couple of days ago, that usually require 20 points, the Rivian just requires you to do one event in autumn season, this first one, which is one of the Event Labs, Type Hard Farks Event Lab, wins you the RIVIAN R1T, the first of the two brand new Rivians, and I believe in 2 weeks' time it'll be the same. There'll be another Event Lab here to unlock the R1S, which is the sort of SUV closed-back version of the Rivian. So here is the Rivian. It has a rather nice interior. I love the sort of lighter coloured seats and the wood it's got. It's got a decent-looking sized truck bed, considering it's a sort of crew cab truck. It's got a trunk in the front, but most impressively, it's got this hatch that goes all the way through behind the rear seats, which supposedly takes up what would otherwise be wasted space, because it's sort of a funny shape and you can't have your truck bed come all the way down there without impacting the truck bed. But to me, it looks like it does impact it slightly. Not very much. Admittedly, they've added more storage space than they would have had otherwise by shrinking the bed a tiny, tiny bit. And the other great thing about these is, well, they can take the weight of a human being, so you can stand on these hatches that open downwards to kind of more easily access the bed of the truck. So yeah, there's a few little features like that in the design of this thing that are super, super clever. Yeah, so it is quite an interesting one. The Rivian is a very similar big truck to the Hummer EV that we got a few updates ago, also being electric and very big and heavy, which is because the Hummer is actually heavily based on the same platform as the two Rivians that are being added to the game. You would think that over 3,000 kilo weight of the Rivian is a lot, but when compared to the Hummer, that's over 4,000. So in comparison, the Rivian is literally a feather. Although, to drive, it actually doesn't feel all that heavy. It felt a lot better than the BMW iX, for example, that I drove a couple of days ago. Although, to be fair, this was on dirt, so being able to slide it kind of helped pull the weight around a little bit. Anyway, to propel all of that weight around, it does have an excessive, I think, 835 horsepower and a huge 1,232 torques. The heavier Hummer, though, has over 1,000 horsepower to pull that additional weight around. Here in Forza, it sits at A-Class 718 from standard, which is interestingly identical to the Hummer, which you might expect because they're based on the same thing, but given how much more power the Hummer had and how much heavier it was, I'm kind of surprised, but I guess those two figures balance each other out, in Forza's mind at least. Anyway, now let's see what upgrades and customization options are available for the first of the two Rivians. Firstly, and quite interestingly, if we go into motor and battery and equip the most powerful one, it gives it exactly the same 1,086 horsepower as the Hummer. So that's essentially a Hummer swap. You have your usual Forza Aero for trucks, which includes that and that, making it sort of more off-roady, but I'm not sure I'm going to do that. Apart from that, it's all pretty much as you would expect. You've got your tyre compounds, tyre widths, tyre profiles, of course, are on all trucks now. All of your usual drivetrain options, platform and handling options, one of which is quite important, the weight reduction, which can bring weight down as low as 2,382 kilos, which is still huge, but it's quite a lot less than it was, meaning it now weighs slightly less than the Moon. It also has a selection of quite nice manufacturer colours. There's this sort of slightly grey blue that we have on it at the moment, a mustardy yellow, which I think looks fantastic, a grey, a black, and a red, which I think is quite a popular colour on these. I've only really seen pictures of them in that colour before. Anyway, I'm going to go with the yellow. Just like the BMW iX that I took a look at a couple of days ago, let's see what the top speed of the Rivian is with that fully upgraded motor, now that it has over 1,000 horses, and, well, I've put the weight reduction on as well, so it weighs substantially less than before. I have had to tune the gears because it was topping out at 126, I did just test that. But now, as you can see, it's doing nearly 230 and still accelerating. It is quite terrifying going this fast in something this heavy, though. 240 as we get onto the downhill. It's quite difficult dodging traffic in this. 247, 48. I think if I hadn't swerved to avoid that, we might have got 250 there. Right, with the magic of rewind, let's try that again. $250. I saw 250. So, the most important test out of the way, the top speed run. Let's see what it's like at doing, well, more what it's supposed to do. It is in the end supposed to be a rugged off-road truck that can go anywhere. So let's see if it can still do that despite being electric. Obviously, in reality, you'd have trouble finding chargers if you went up a mountain. But anyway, let's go. So yeah, I've equipped the sort of Baja bits. There's the truck bed entirely for tyres, meaning that hatch is actually quite useful now for storage. And we have a front boot anyway, so who cares if we use the whole truck bed for some tyres. Obviously, I've got the bash bar, I've got off-road tyres, although I can't really tell how they're different from before. They're bigger profile, bigger size. I've got some 1552s on there. So, yeah, still got the powerful Hummer motor. I've put the weight back in because that's probably more realistic. Because Forza never actually removes the seats. Anyway, it seems to be doing pretty well. We are very nearly almost at the top already. But to be fair, it is Forza, and Pagani Zonda or a Koenigsegg could probably climb that hill just as well. But anyway, nice to do what the truck was intended for with the truck. That was going up the mountain. Now let's go down the mountain. I definitely didn't rewind to redo the gears, because for some reason it had reset them to standard ratios, and I want to go fast down the hill. Never mind, this is spun it. There we go, the Rivian, it turns out, is incredibly fast and incredibly good at off-roading. And quite an interesting vehicle. Oh no. Oh no, I didn't land on that. Excellent. And that is going to do it for a very first look at the RIVIAN R1T, the first of the two brand new Rivian vehicles here in Forza Horizon 5. From standard, it felt a lot nicer to drive than the BMW iX, for example, and although I, coming into this, thought I slightly preferred the Hummer, I would say this being slightly lighter, slightly smaller, slightly less powerful even, is the more kind of usable of the cars, or trucks, I suppose. So yeah, I do actually rather like this thing, although there's still a huge problem with just electric vehicles in general, but yeah, as a car, or truck, I did actually quite enjoy driving this thing from standard. Of course, with upgrades you can make it even more mad, giving it the same power as the Hummer, while still being smaller and lighter, meaning it went onto that huge top speed of 250 miles per hour, which is absolutely insane for a vehicle this big and heavy, although it was substantially lighter then because I took some weight out. But yeah, a fun new addition, and like I say, to unlock this thing, you only have to do one Event Lab event rather than 20 points of the playlist, so super easy to unlock, so I would definitely say, well, go and get it, why not? If it's that straightforward to. You do have until next Thursday to obtain it, by the way. But anyway, for a very first look at the first of the two Rivians, that is going to be all. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back with the next one very soon.